A couple. Oh, yep. Okay, thanks. Heather's already on it. She's
Heather is on it.
did it. Okay, perfect.
This is fun. This is
Now,
exciting. Honey,
now,
we get to
Adam,
collaborate here. This is going to be a lot of fun.
I know I'm very excited. Adam, how do you teach me how to, and everyone else, how do I do that thing where I get a transcription of this afterwards?
Transcription. Yep. Looks like someone's got the AI notes started. There you
Being,
go.
being transcribed. Okay.
There you go.
Hi, Heather. Did we do that or did someone else do that?
I would imagine someone else did that.
Jess, it's in your Zoom account.
Jess, that means absolutely nothing to her.
Heather did that.
Yes, I'm assuming
Okay,
Heather did that.
Heather.
Yes.
Love it.
Okay.
Thank
I
you.
want to do this before we start because I love
Hey,
starting our.
you love that me and Heather talk in third person. I
Yes,
know that I know that's one of your favorite things.
it definitely is. My two wives. Type in the chat here, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're excited to get this going and have a conversation with all of you about what we uh, did with Rory, though my wife is going to be the one that gets all the credit because she's the one who actually get it all set. But I want to know how everyone's feeling right now. Type in the chat. What's the one word to describe your feeling right now? Let's see the mood of this Zoom, honey.
Jill Jackson is on, and my whole day is made.
Excited. We got
Oh
blessed.
my gosh, Caitlin's on. Everybody's
Excited.
I will, Adam. I was gonna start while everyone's doing that and say
Happy.
before we go into what Rory shared,
Mm-hmm.
and all of Rory's things. I know you said that I get all the credit, and I mean clearly I do, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yes.
just kidding. But what I was gonna say
Anxious.
is
Excited.
two things. One, a huge aha before we get into Rory is utilize your network. So many of you all are actually there to thank and the reason that we even got to go because I leaned into everybody who I've ever had a relationship with and said, please download this link. I really, really want us to, I really want to win. And so sometimes, I was thinking about that a lot. One, just thank you all if you downloaded and helped me and Adam. Thank you so much. And two, um, your people want you to win. The people that are around you are for you and they want you to win. And sometimes I think that we get a little bit just in our own way and we don't ask or we don't,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, we don't think we need the help or we're like don't want to ask anybody to help us because we've all got it. But in this situation, that wasn't the case and I really needed y'all's help. So thank you and also don't forget the power of your own network. And um, honey, you haven't listened to the podcast yet, but Linda and I, well, it's not even out yet. Linda and I recorded an episode yesterday, and Linda started with, she's like, I just want to know how Adam got there in the room too. She's like, why didn't I get to be the one to go with you? No, she's like, I mean, I know he's your husband and all, but like, how did Adam get in the room? And I said, Adam did a great thing though. Adam knew what to do. He upgraded our hotel suite to like the largest bathtub room you've ever seen on the planet. I'm a bath girl. I love to take a bath and I've never seen a bathtub that
It
big.
was huge.
And I walked into the room, and Adam knows the way to my heart. Five Daughters donuts, a whole
Mm.
half dozen of them. I ate four over a 2 day time frame. So, so before we even start about Rory, number one, utilize your network, and number two, get you a good spouse that loves and supports you like Adam does. So, thank you, honey.
Well, while we're on that same note, before we go into some of our takeaways and shares, just to give that language some more legs. So Rory put this out there, the competition out there to his brand builder group and then internally. So I want you guys to hear the reach here, and all of you have the capability of doing this. He showed us that through the people in his brand builder group. Now, this was to send out and have their databases download his free
Yeah. Oh, Jinx,
book.
twins. Oh my gosh, we just did that at the same
Yeah,
time.
but mine's not signed. Yours is signed. I don't know why I didn't take mine to sign it.
Is
Is that
this
the same? Is that the right one? But get this, you all. I want you to hear this.
It is signed, but it does say Dana and Adam. If
Oh,
that
how
makes
about
you
that?
feel
So
better.
half of it's mine, half of it's yours.
That's right.
The Inside Brand Builders Group, 9,000 downloads
Yeah.
of his book. 9,000 downloads. Why? Because he simply asked, right? He simply asked the people in his group to do it, right?
Yeah.
To share it. And then he put a competition around it. Secondly, he did the same thing internally with his people, with his leadership team, with the coaches, with himself. and they had 25,000 downloads of his book. So nearly 34,000 downloads before the book was even released. The point of that is he leaned into his people, he leaned into his database, and that was just like you said, Dana, the idea there of people do want to help you. And that
Yeah.
was a big takeaway. When I saw those numbers, if you're not leaning into your database, if you're not building that database, and we know this in the real estate space, and growing it and nurturing it and talking to it and loving on it and asking it, it's not going to perform for you. So if your database isn't performing for you, you're doing all the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
That was a big takeaway just from looking at those numbers.
Yeah. Very true.
Okay, so we've got a lot of excited people on the call here. We've got a lot of people that are feeling good. I want to do one more question. One more question before we get started. Type in the chat your biggest win you've had over the last, I don't know, week. This week, what's been one of your biggest wins that you've had this week? No judgment on anything. It can be any type of win, health, wealth, relationship, spirituality, giving, leadership, whatever it is. Type it in there. Let's see what kind of wins we have for the week. This is how
Gosh,
we
I'm
start.
even trying to think of my biggest. I still don't know what day it is. My days have been so off this week. It's
Thursday.
Thursday.
3 under contract. Nice
Yes, Stephanie.
job.
Wow. Oh my gosh, that's great.
Being invited top 20%
Yes,
in the office. There you
Daniel. Love
go,
it.
Daniel. Nice job. Put modesty in your back pocket, guys. Give it to us. Listing went live today. Nice job, Emily. Good workout in the physical therapy. Love it. 2 new offers.
Dylan said Bill had a big one today. I know what that is. That was. Thank you, Bill. That
Look at
was a
these
good one.
wins. Look at these wins. That's right. Chris Walton got selected to Battle of Coaches. That's going to be
Oh,
really,
that's
really cool.
cool. I love that.
Mhm.
Joining a
One of
team.
our coaches
Love
and I
that.
swept her brokerage in all categories last month. Nice job, Sandra. First KW luxury training watch party. That's good.
Oh, this is fun.
Look
Good
at these
job.
wins.
Love this. Oh, Tracy Edwards. Yep, you've been working hard on that. Love that.
Mhm. Client making semis.
Oh,
Nice, Ash.
Ash, don't talk about that or Adam will never get to brand builders. We'll have to talk about it in this rest of the Zoom.
Set 3 capital
Dylan,
appointments. Let's go,
yes.
Dylan.
Nice. Oh my gosh, love it.
Nice. Okay,
Great.
good. All right, excellent. So let's dive into this. Let me give some context first. So we're in Nashville. Dana wins this amazing opportunity. And we have a great night the night before, went to all of her favorite spots in Nashville. And the next day we wake up, we're prepared. Well, I was prepared. I had at least 17 questions prepared. Honey, did you have any questions prepared?
I was totally prepared.
Okay,
I
good. Good.
I basically laminated my life
You
for
did.
Rory
Yes.
and was very prepared. Yes.
So we put the address into our indoor phones to give us directions, and it starts to take us kind of off a beaten path. And we were like, where are we going? And we finally get there, but it's not there's no big sign out front that says brand builders. We're looking around and it's kind of, I don't know if you would call that an industrial space or what.
Yeah, it was kind of obscure.
Yeah, in a very odd area. And so we get out and there's only one car in the parking lot. We don't know what Rory drives. And so we park and we're just kind of looking around and we thought, well, if we wanted to stay safe, we probably should get inside. And so, we find one door and it's locked. We find another door, it's locked. We find another door, and we finally get inside. And inside, you all, I have videos, and I'll be happy to share them with all. It really was an incredible, incredible learning space. And I'm kind of walking around. I'm seeing some good little snacks hanging around, and Dana says, "Hello." And all of a sudden, you hear Rory say, "Dana." And he was upstairs, and we walked upstairs, and the show began. But
It was
can't wait
cool though
to.
because he said that they bought that building because they were paying thousands of dollars every month to rent spaces
Yeah.
to host their events and their trainings at. And he said AJ, his wife, was like, "This is stupid. Why are we wasting all this money? We just need to find something
Yep.
and remodel it or build it." And so they made it into a really cool space.
But it used to be a diesel repair shop.
Yeah, so you
If you
can
can
see where they
imagine.
had the garage doors. That's now their training room, which is really cool, similar to a lot of the offices some of us have seen before. Okay, so we're gonna be a little all over the place because quite frankly, our 3 hours was a little all over the place, but I want to get into some tactical things for everybody. Adam, first, do you want to start with the social media stuff? Because I feel like that's a good way to kick it off.
Yeah, I think we can go in this direction, social media, but let's go back to the way that I labeled this was brand clarity is not optional.
Yeah.
right? Brand, your brand and its clarity, y'all, is not an option from this day moving forward. If people don't know your brand, if they don't know, as we say inside of ILC, what your problem solution cycle is and your one word that you solve, if you are obscure in that space, spend some time developing what that brand really looks like.
Well,
And
I think
this,
that's interesting to hear that because I think that was a huge aha for you where I had been
Mhm.
working on that for the last year
Right.
with brand builders. Um, and some of this I've shared with many of you guys on our brokerage calls, on ILC calls. But your personal brand is so important over the company's brand
Yes.
that you're with, over whatever organization you're with, any of that. Your personal brand is so much more important than any of that. That your that their brand is important also, but it's actually not more important than your personal
Then your
brand
brand.
because
That's right.
in today's time, sorry, I feel so naked. I don't have any of my jewelry on. I forgot to put stuff on. I just have my ring on. We're still married, just like FYI. I feel so naked. That's a way to start a rumor. 60 people on a Zoom call. No, it was interesting to me because there's so many statistics now that show people want to do business with people who we've always heard like, know, and trust, but now it's whose values align with their values
That's
or
right.
who they have things in common with, or you know, are a single mom and you're a single mom, or they are doing this and you're doing that. Whatever that is, like, and it's funny because a lot of times Rory has said this before, but we think, well, there's so many coaches, or there's so many realtors out there, or there's so many public speakers or authors or whatever, but there's like a bajillion people on the planet. I don't know how many there are right now. And what Rory always says is your tribe that's meant for you, your clients that are meant for you are out there because
That's right.
they will be drawn in if you are setting yourself apart as your own
Mhm.
brand. And so that was, yeah, he always starts with that.
I like what he said. He said, you must define what you are the king and queen of, right? Even if it evolves later, he said.
Yeah.
I thought that was super cool as it relates to your brand. What are you the king or queen of? And he gave simple examples of how to use, if we're talking about Instagram, how to use it, right? So, from example, your feed. Inside your feed is what you do. This is where you are the authority in this specific space. Whatever that you're the king or queen of, in your feed, this is what you do.
And I'll
And
Oh,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I will be. I know I lead a lot of you on this call, but I'm gonna be super transparent. So I struggle with this,
Mhm.
and one of the very first questions that I asked him, which is why we started with this, is I get the feedback. We love Dana, but we have no clue what Dana does.
Right.
And I
Yep.
get that from a lot of people.
Mhm.
And when look at my Instagram, say, because that's my main source of traffic, as he would call it. Some of you, it's going to be Facebook. Some of you, it's going to be YouTube. Some of you need to like kick it up with one of them because you aren't doing anything. But it is confusing. I mean, I own these brokerages. I coach some people. I teach real estate agents. Likes to post about food and skincare and our family. We go to tennis tournaments. Like, there's all sorts of different stuff. And I think people get whiplash just like we do when we're looking at people too. And I have struggled with that so much. And so that was one of the things that we started with when we sat down with him. Like, I asked him the question, what do I do? Because I own multiple businesses, I serve multiple people. I can't get my avatar down to one single, you know, 40-year-old female that is a realtor or whatever it is. Like I was so overwhelmed by that. And he actually said it's like having, let me find my note. He said it's like having different channels.
Mhm.
Um, but this was really good. This was one of my biggest takeaways. He said they have to be able to put you in a box.
That's right.
And so he said, if whatever you're posting and sharing and all the things, like if they can't put you in a box of just a couple to
They
one,
won't follow you. Yep.
once they won't follow you and they'll be overwhelmed by you, quite frankly, which I think is unfortunately what I do to people, but I'm working on it. But he said that,
Well, wait, hold on real quick. So, well, because watch this, you all. If you look at the followers, right? If we're just talking about social media, followers will follow you because of maybe the relationship that you have with them or a few degrees of separation relationship, right?
oh,
But when it comes time to offer something, they're not going to buy because they didn't follow you for that specific authority space. right? And that's what we're talking about right here is people need a clear lane to follow you. If you're
Yeah.
showing 70 different things, is what he said, they're going to be confused when it comes time and you make an offer to them. And
Hmm.
and that's why they don't know what to do because they're confused. And they're like, oh wow, Dana and Adam were just at a tennis tournament. Oh look, Dana's love language is acts of vacation. Right. And then all of a sudden I jump on there. I'm like, hey, join our coaching community. And they're like, wait a minute, what happened to the acts of vacation? Right. And that's
I
that's
love that Chris Welton 100% thinks that's hilarious. Yeah. But Hannah and Jen are like, we're right there with her. We're on the vacation. Yes. Okay.
uh-huh.
Um,
Uh-huh.
that's right. And Adam, but he did say too, remember, this was a good one. He said, do your bouncing around in your stories. This was one of
Yes,
my biggest takeaways. He said, do your bouncing around in your stories. Your stories are who you are, and your feed is what you do.
that's right.
So
They
only
build trust with you in the stories.
yes, they will trust you. They get to know you better. If you're doing 95 things, do them in the stories. Because he said so he said your stories are almost like a reality show, and that's where people should get to know who you are, what you're about. Like all he said the bond is formed in your stories,
Yes.
period. And then your feed is only what you do. And he said you can do sprinkles of who you are in the feed, like for me, faith is super important to me. So I might sprinkle that into my
Mhm.
feed every now and then, but every morning I'm posting some sort of something from my quiet time in my stories because
Yeah.
that's who I am and that's a part of my every single day life. So that was really good. And he said, yeah, your bond is formed in the story. He said, think of it as a network with different shows. So, like when you are in your stories, they might like Dylan. I'll use you as an example just because I know you so well. They may see you taking pictures at the Cats game one weekend, and then they might see you doing something at church, and then they're seeing you at the KW office. Like then they're seeing you with Cooper and Lauren. Like all those things would be different channels that they would see in your story. But then what your main thing, what you do is the feed basically.
That's
Uh,
your expertise. The feed is your
yeah.
expertise.
But then he
And
said with that, Adam, remember he said never sell in the
that's what I
feed.
was going to say.
Yeah.
Do stop from this day forward. If you do one thing from what we say right now, stop selling in your feed. I am 1,000% guilty of this because I like to offer, right? Though if you sell in your feed, that's not what they want, right? The feed is about your expertise. The feed, if you're doing reels, is where will people stop the scroll, right? That's really what reels are about is stopping the scroll with amazing hooks, but the amazing hooks have to live inside of your expertise, right? That's what we really want. So stop selling in the feeds. You can offer and sell in your stories if you want to, and that's where he even talked about giving a lot of stuff for free in your stories.
Yes. Okay. Maria just asked that. Yes, in your stories, and
Mhm.
or also you're driving them to like a
A
website
funnel of some
or
sort.
a
Yeah, a website.
funnel or
Yeah.
a Google form or your database that then you're email
Mhm.
selling to them or whatever. And then Stephanie said, "What are we considering selling? Do we have calls to action in the feed?" Yes. So that's basically the same question. You 100% could. Um, but he's really big on and this. See, I knew we were going to bounce around. This is like on my last page, but he's really big on this was so good too. He said their motto at Brand Builders is save the best for first.
Hmm.
And I related that instantly to like being in the real estate brokerage world. I cannot stand when we're trying to bring an agent to the office and they go back to their broker, they want to come and then they go back to their broker and then they'll call me and be like, well, they offered me a better deal. And I'm like, you get our best deal at the day one, like at at the very beginning. That's our best deal. There are no other deals that we're gonna cut you. But and that's what he said, that's how they built their whole model. He said save the best for first, meaning they give away so much stuff, y'all. Like they don't ever really have to sell. They don't ever really have to ask for referrals because
Hmm.
they are giving so much stuff away constantly. And that was like the third or fourth time that's slapped me in the face because I was just thinking about um before people have said, and Adam, you've gotten this a lot too. Like both of us have, like, why do you do these trainings for free? Or why do you give this stuff away or whatever? Well, we've always just believed, like, oh, it'll come back to you. That's what you're supposed to do. But there actually is strategy behind that.
Sure.
I mean,
Great strategy.
it's the law of reciprocity. When you give somebody something so many times and you give them so much value, innately, they want to help
I mean, if you
repay.
have his book in front of you, literally on the first hardcover, access to free resources. So you've just bought his book and he's still giving you free stuff.
Yeah.
So, and again, everything though, from a free standpoint, is to continue to add value and build your authority. Though at the end of the day, it is, if they're giving me that for free, what will they give me if I pay them?
Yeah. Or if
Right.
I join them or
Or if
whatever.
I join them or whatever that is. Yeah.
And you know what else on the free thing really fast too? Sometimes I think we overanalyze that, but for those of you that were this is going to be a very small percentage of you, but for those of you that were in San Antonio at the KW mega camp, and if you weren't there, well, I'll explain. But there was a guy named Marcus Sheridan who spoke, and I have all of his notes. Dylan, we need to like formulate all those questions somehow from his slides because they were so good. But that value of where like that's free stuff. Like he said, give them things that your competitors aren't giving them, or give them things that they want to know. Like for us, it could be, well, I'll give you another example. I got sucked in. I'm supposed to be in this digital detox that Adam and our church have had me in, but it's not going real well, to be totally transparent. I got sucked last night into watching these stories of reels on Ken Pozek's page out of Orlando, where they were reviewing the scariest. I don't even ride roller coasters, and they were reviewing the scariest roller coasters that just came out at Universal for the holidays. And they were like 8 out of 10 scary, 4 out of 10. But it was kind of cool because he was basically giving you that's value, like that's free stuff. Let me go ahead and tell you all the things that you need to know before you pay to take your family here during Halloween, right? So there's so many things in all of our fields that we could be doing, selling versus not selling for realtors. Yeah, I would say it's not selling would be saying, on your social media, like who do you know
Well,
that needs to buy or sell a house? Or
that right there is a good transition to the next one because this is how I put my notes. Monetization comes from focus, not hustle. Right.
yes,
And so I love what he says. If you've read his books, if you listen to Rory, it is diluted focus equals diluted results.
yes,
So if we go back to the example of the Ken Pozak, the idea there is he is painting a broad stroke brush of being the expert of all things Orlando-ish, though everything still points back to one primary revenue stream. One, just one,
yeah,
not five, not 10, one. So coaches that are in the community here, what is your stuff pointing back to that is the one revenue stream? Right? Some of you have books. Some of you give keynotes. Some of you have group coaching. Some of you have one-on-one coaching spaces. That's four revenue streams. What is all of this pointing back to? Because he used the example of his pro subscription, right?
yep. I was just about to say that. So he says every person needs to know what your primary business model is. And that's basically the one business stream that he, in his words, will get you really rich. Like it
Right.
is the one stream. So for a lot of you, it's either you're selling houses or you're coaching clients, or several of you are doing other things too. But whatever that one primary business model is, but then the way that they call it a golden grid, which we don't have time to go into, and I don't have it pulled up, but they talk about your primary business model as in the short term and then what is the long term. And so basically, just to give you an example, so Rory's their Brand Builder's long-term business model is to get people to sign up for a pro membership coach. It's $1,500 a month. You work with a strategist for 1 hour every month, and then you get access to all their free stuff, which by the way, we have a link that might be, if anybody is interested in that, don't go like rogue because we can help you figure out the best strategy. But so basically that's their primary business model, is to get as many people as possible to sign up for the pro membership, which I have done for the last 18 months. Adam is signing up this month after going to start to do it, Adam and Jess. But so in other things, many of you have heard him speak before. So like his short-term business models are speaking
Speaking.
and going on and podcasts. What'd you say?
Speaking in his books.
Yeah, books, speaking, podcasts, like all those are short-term business models. that push everything to a long-term business, his primary business model long-term, which is getting people to sign up for the pro membership. I mean, really, his clients are Ed Milet, Jenna Kutcher, Lewis Howes, Ryan Leake. Those people are paying $150,000-$250,000 a year to just be consulted by Rory. Those are one percenters, right? Like that's not going to be everybody. So that's why their primary business model is that pro membership. So I was thinking about that. There are, and it would be like us, I'll use real estate, Adam, you use coaching, but as a realtor, if your primary business model is transactions, people buying and selling homes from you, your other short terms could be things that you're doing to drive people to that, community events, a podcast. Gosh, what else? I'm blanking. I'll think of more. You guys probably already have more, but those are other short term, what he would call secondary business models that would help you generate to drive everything to your main primary business model, which is the main way that you make money.
Yeah, and
What did
that's
I
what
miss?
but that's what he said, and paraphrasing basically said, don't create multiple weak revenue streams. Build one strong one that buys your freedom, is what he said. Right. And that's really that was a good punch in the nose because again, we as entrepreneurs love to start things. We get all these crazy fun ideas, and yet do we really have a singular focus? I mean, heck, Gary Keller wrote the one thing and Jay wrote the one thing. And very similarly, it is what is that one primary revenue stream that you are building that buys your freedom? Because
And
everything else
also,
will drive
okay,
it
by
to
the
it.
way, if this is like overwhelming to you, if you are a realtor or a coach or you own your own business or whatever, um, like we'll break it down a little bit more, but the thing I want you to think about when you're hearing all this and learning all this is things have changed drastically. Like post COVID, I mean, you all AI is running most people's businesses now. Consumer loyalty is down more than it ever has been before across almost all industry. Like the game is different. And so I do, not from a scarcity space, but I worry about some of the people who are like, oh, I have all, I'm just going to keep doing what I've been doing because it's always worked. Um, that is like, that scares the crap out of me for a lot of people in my world too that do that, that are saying that because things are changing so fast and it's just a different way. It's the newer way of doing things. And like brand builders, they have their entire own AI bot. I don't even know what it's called, Adam, now, but like what is that called? An extension or
I mean, it's just it's gold to me is what it's called. It looks
Adam
beautiful.
was obsessed with
I
it.
was salivating when he showed it to us. And
It's
but what
basically like a chat GPT, but for brand builders clients. And so you go in and say, like, it knows everything about you from all of your strategy calls and stuff. And then if you were going to run an ad for, or if you were getting ready to go do a speaking engagement or something and you needed help with changing something or you were going on an appointment or whatever, like it just spits it right out. But what that told me was before we would take hours, weeks to come up with some of that stuff that
Mhm.
AI is spitting out in, less than 60 seconds.
But before we go too far into that, because I do want to dive into it, I really liked what he said here. And again, if you've listened to Rory before, you've read some of his books, he has shared this before, is it's we have been conditioned in our environment here, mostly in the KW space, and it's not wrong to understand your why, right? To understand the why. Now that's internal motivation, but what Rory says is it's not about starting with a why; it's starting with a who,
It's
right?
Adam, Linda and I, you didn't even know this because me and you didn't even talk about it yesterday, but when Linda and I were recording a podcast yesterday, Linda brought that up. She was
Yeah.
like, my whole life I've been like, what's my
Why,
why? What's the
why?
why? And she's like, I struggle with figuring out the why on every single thing. And she said, I'm just so glad now that I can understand and realize that it's not about the why, it's about the who. And she said, and it's just getting into action and figuring out like
What that who means though is who are you looking to attract?
yes.
Right? That's what that means is who are you looking to attract so that again, if you have a big why, that the who is what's going to drive you to that big why. And going back into monetizing one revenue stream, we've heard this also that you should have multiple revenue streams. And his exact words were, you don't need multiple crappy revenue streams.
Yeah.
You He said basically, when you become rich, you can go get as many multiple streams as you want to and go put your money there. But in the beginning, right here, when you have clarity on your who, when you have clarity on your one revenue stream, when you have clarity on the vehicles that are attracting these who's into your world, build that one thing as big and deep as possible, and then go find the multiples. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was good for me.
Oh, I skipped one. He said, this is a big one, you guys. Actually, this is a big one for so many of you, even just business owners. Reducing friction to get your people to take the next step is the number one thing that we need to be thinking about as we're building and growing. So whether that's clients for realtors, clients for coaches, whatever your business is, he said that the thing that they're always thinking at brand builders is how do I reduce friction so that those people will take the next step?
Mhm.
Because if they don't understand how to take the next step, or if there's any sort of friction that's keeping them from, signing the contract or signing up or joining or looking at houses or whatever it is, they're not going to do it. They're going to keep kicking the can down the road. And so he said, a good, well, I don't know if he said this, but a good action item that I took away is almost to have a couple of hours just to brain dump and go through like all the systems or what it takes, the process to work with you, and where could friction be in that pot, like in that whole list, where would be friction moments and how could you make that friction um, go away or at least make it as minimal as possible. Yes,
Mhm.
Stephanie said, I feel like there's so much
Well,
friction with buyers and sellers right
some of the areas that he said to reduce friction, and again, let's define what friction really means. Friction is getting people to come into your world, whether that is in a paid version, right? So if it's in the coaching space, it is having someone sign up for a coaching something or other with you, or in the real estate space, it's having someone sign up with you to go buy, sell, or invest, or on the flip side, do the same thing. He said offer incentives.
now.
Offer incentives, give incentives for them to take actions,
Yeah.
right? So incentives at the front door and also incentives at the back door. And I really liked what he said that. The back door meaning getting people to stay is an incentive. Dana had an example of that when she was going to not renew inside of brand builders. And what they do, they gave incentives for her to stay. And that again just reduces the friction that someone would have to come into your world. And we
And
talk
by
about
the
that
way,
a lot too.
it wasn't a cheaper price. They
Mhm.
actually increased their price. When I renewed for year two, I paid more per month than what I paid last year. But he made it easier by saying he knew I really wanted to be with a different coach. And so, or they call him strategist. So they got me with my strategist. And then they gave, gosh, a 75-day social media plan, a whole nother bestseller launch plan, like all of these things that typically do cost money, but it just made it easier and it reduced the friction.
Mhm.
And then I signed up. But he
It's
said,
also those are also called freebies, right?
yeah,
What are the freebies? And that's we've talked about this before in the coaching space is do not ever lower your prices. Offer more incentives, offer more value because again, lowering your price is ultimately going to piss you off. Right? It's ultimately going to make you mad because you're lowering your time value money. Probably the same thing in the commission world, right?
well, he says that it makes oh, what did he say? It creates like animosity
Sure.
between who you're working with and stuff, because if you reduce your price, then you're just pissed off that you reduced
Yeah.
your price.
We've all lowered our prices one way or another to attempt to close a transaction. Though at the end of the day, when you offer more value, when you're able to offer incentives and keep your price, or in this case, even increase your price, then now everyone is happy.
Yeah.
And that reduces friction. That's the whole point there is to reduce friction.
One last thing he said about incentives too is, and we've kind of talked about this before, especially in the real estate space, but he said also think about how do you incentivize the behavior that you want.
Hmm.
So I don't remember who I was just talking about this week with this, but as a realtor, when someone gives you a referral, you don't wait until it closes to send them a thank you gift. You send them the thank you the minute that you get the referral, right? Because you're rewarding the behavior. Whether they buy or sell is on you, but it's not on the person that referred them to you. They did what they were supposed to do by referring you the client. So he said, be constantly thinking how you can surprise and delight and incentivize the behavior that you actually want from the people in your network or from the people in your sphere, your database, whatever word you want to insert
Right.
there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, KW has had that for a long time with profit share. I know that Brand Builders has something similar. I Love Coaching has Love Share, and it's what is that incentive? And he actually said it. He said, pay massive, pay massive mailbox money, pay massive passive mailbox money is what he said was an incentive to keep people growing his company.
Yeah.
That was really, really cool. And again, that's another opportunity as we started this call with how do you leverage your database? That was one of the ways to leverage his database to incentivize more growth for the company.
Yeah.
Okay.
This I had one random one. I don't know if you got very much on this, Adam, but I thought this might be relevant to everybody on the call. He talked about this for people who have books coming out or who have had a book come out. And he said that they do something called he actually, you know what? He gave the example of Jamie Kern Lima. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. I know many of you have heard of Jamie Kern Lima, her book Worthy. She sold her cosmetics for $1 billion to L'Oreal. She was the first CEO, blah, blah, blah. So he gave her as an example because he said when she launched, no, I take it back. He compared her to Ed Milet. When Ed Milet launched his book and when Jamie Kern Lima launched their book, they did two totally different strategies and approaches. And he said that both worked, but that you kind of have to decide which one is for you. And so this isn't necessarily for a book. I mean, obviously, if any of you are writing a book, it definitely applies, and we could go deeper offline on that. But he called it a gated versus an ungated strategy. And I do think that this is really important for everyone on the call because for your business, many of you are already doing something similar to this. So, a gated strategy is when you actually have to buy something to get access. So, like, for example, when Ed Milet launched his book, why am I blanking on the name of it? What's the name of his book? Jess, you'll know. I'm totally blanking. That's
Power of
horrible.
one more. Power of one more.
Yeah, power of one
Yes,
more.
thanks, Chris. Yeah, the power of one more. Yes. Okay. So when he launched that, he wanted to be on the bestsellers list. You had to buy a copy, pre-order a copy of The Power of One More, and then you got access to a private virtual event that had Ed and, all of his friends, right? Like they did this whole panel of this whole big event. Jamie Kern Lima did what Rory called an ungated event, meaning she hosted the same free online. They both used the Tony Robbins event center and wherever that is, like did it the same way. As you had to buy a copy to attend, Jamie Kern Lima said, "I'll just open it for everybody. It's ungated. It's a free event. Everybody come." And then on there, she pitched for them to buy the book, right? So he said that there's a huge difference between gated and ungated. He said that for people who are business owners, and I'm just thinking of some of you guys on the call right now, he said for people who are newer to like growing your business, he would always recommend ungated things. Like just let anybody and everybody come. You don't need to charge them, have it be free, just so that they can get into your world and they can build a deeper relationship with you. You can still pitch them in the free stuff, but they shouldn't have to buy something to come in. He said, then once you have like a solidified maybe credibility or you've gained a little bit more authority in your space, he said, then he would switch to gated events and say, okay, now it's whatever, $100 to come to this free seminar on, how to downsize your house or whatever it is. I'm just thinking off the top of my head. But I do think that some of y'all might need to think about that with some of the things that you're doing to grow your business. And do you need to have gated things versus ungated things?
Mm-hmm. That's really good. I want to go into something that they could take action on right now. And remember when he talked about GEO, and I thought this was really cool. It's generative engine operations. And then he went from there into talking about blogging. And I mean, how many of you, show of hands, think blogging's dead? So I got to give credit to Miss Jess Weber here. About a year ago, she's like, we need to create a blog for I Love Coaching. I was like, I mean, what is this, 1997? No one does blogs anymore. And sure enough, he brings this up in the blogging space. And so I put the link in the chat there of Rory's blog. And what was really neat about the GEO aspect is he said that's where he puts all of his free content.
Adam, I don't see the link for his blog.
Oh, it's way up there. Hold on,
Oh, okay.
got it
Sorry, I thought you
right
meant you
here. I'll
just
do
did
it
it.
again.
I've been trying to manage it, monitor
Here
this.
it is right here. But he said, so if you go onto his blog right there, what you'll do is you'll scroll down and you can just see again, this is his site. So it's not Brand Builder's site. This is his site that is specifically his brand. So you can see all of his blogs that are right here. 5 signs you're wired for success. The 5-minute secrets that turned any speech into a standing ovation, so on and so forth. Okay.
Free stuff, free stuff, free
Right.
stuff.
Now look on the right though. On the right side, this was something that was like, wow, that was really strategic and cool.
Yep.
On the right side, he calls this free selling. He said, these are the ads that I own, right? When we look at stuff like this, we normally see ads off to the right side, but he says these are the ads that he owns, and they are access to entry points, right? Entry points into his world, free call, join this influential personal brand, a free online summit, right? All of these are opt-in opportunities into his world. And when you have a space like this is what GEO is all about. The GEO aspect, when we get into the GPTs and the AIs of the world, will go out and scrape the internet for specific information on you. And when it comes to these types of things, that's how you get pulled up when someone searches how to build a brand, when someone searches real estate in Richmond, Kentucky, when someone searches the best coaches for writing a book or a keynote or whatever it is by having GEO aspects like this that are available to not only the searcher, but the AI as well.
So, Adam, okay, so one thing I wrote down to actually talk about with that, um, when he said that, when he talked about your blog, he said, like, you have to have a blog. Every
Mhm.
person, I was shocked by that. You all shocked by that. I used to blog way back in the, like, you have to have every business or person has to have a blog now because of all the things Adam just said. But I was learning from Phil Jones a couple of weeks ago in San Antonio, and he actually gave me an action item. And this is something that we're getting ready to start working on very much in our businesses. I know Adam has did this all day yesterday. You'll have to share some of it. Um, oh wow, yes, Dylan has. Okay, I see a blue. The blog numbers are higher than ever. That does not surprise me whatsoever. Adam, sorry, did you talk about how to be like how AI is going to recommend you by through the
Mhm.
blogs? That you just okay? Sorry,
Mhm.
people were texting me questions, and I was looking at this too. But what Phil Jones said is he gave me the idea of doing case studies. And this is something that all of you all should be doing at some point. Now, this isn't take a commitment. It's a commitment for me. And I have Phil Jones DMing me now, asking me when I'm starting my case studies and holding me accountable. So I told Adam yesterday, I was like, I gotta get my crap together with the case studies. But he basically said that you go and interview people who have worked with you or done business with you, or like Jen, I'm thinking of you, who've like been on a mission trip or been involved in the chair in the foundation. Like anybody that could say that their life was like this and then they met you and their life went like this or whatever. And he said, do an interview with those people. Yes, Dan Demont, thank you so much. Do an interview with those people, have it transcribed, have it in video, have it in audio, do it in a take testimonials or clips from it and put into a carousel post on Instagram, put the long form on your blog, put the video on your YouTube, take short form and put it in your stories, whatever. You get the point, right? But what he said with that is once you do that, those are the real authentic um whatever the word is, I can't think of the word, that AI is picking up now out there in the internet world to be able to recommend you and to give you more authority in that space. And we all have those. We all have clients. Every one of us on the call has had clients or has had people that have worked with us, no matter what industry you're in, right? So it's actually taking those. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, Adam, do you have that screenshot of that?
It's in the chat.
Why can I not see? Oh, it's moving so
I was gonna
fast.
say, yeah,
Yes.
honey, you're like 5 minutes behind on these chats.
Okay. Yes, that's what he said. I thought I heard him say 6,000 words, but then he said he said 6,000 words would be ideal, which ChatGPT said is about a 45-minute interview. For me, it's probably a 20-minute interview because I talk fast, but he said no real reason for that. But he said if you have video, I would also pull the audio and push it as a podcast too. Turn the carousel images to Insta. If you really want to squeeze the value, yes, Dalton and Dylan, this is what I was talking about earlier. I would make each a LinkedIn post about the lessons from each case study too. So all of those things, I know this is a lot that we're throwing at you, but all of those things are things that can speed up the process of you growing whatever you're trying to grow.
Yeah.
Instead of, manually doing all this like we used to, or just waiting to get a client testimonial and then maybe dropping it on our website, like that is not the way to gain any sort of market share in any space that you're in. And Rory just solidified all of that when he was talking about the blogging. He said if it all has to live in one place, but then all the things that Dan put in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. In that same breath, he said, in that blog form, this is what he is saying. This is what we do. If you want what we do, dot, 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 we tell you the scope, right? So here's the scope. You can write stuff in the blog. And those were some of the quote unquote things that I heard him say when it comes to writing a blog. Jess has a really good operations down for the I Love Coaching one where she drops it. But what we've done now is we've connected our podcast to our blog to our posts. So it's all uniform and is congruent. I do believe that that is important. Oh, and then is also in the newsletter form. So there's 4 touches in 1 week of the same content so that if it goes out and scrapes, it's finding information about us, right? That's the approach that we are taking right now,
Love
because
it.
that's where it'll go. So one thing I want to say to transition a little bit there of what he showed next. So
And
if
I
you
have to say my big aha, like I don't want to not share that, like my big takeaway.
do you want to share it now?
No. I'm going to share it after this, after you
Oh,
go.
okay, gotcha. Is it like a place holder or something? Okay,
Yeah.
okay, got it. So if you're familiar with brand builders, I've shared this with a few of you all. He's got this flywheel, right? And here's the flywheel. You can see it right there. It's kind of hard to see, but he's got this flywheel, and the flywheel is very, very in depth. There is from building your brand to writing a keynote to writing a book to building scale, four different moving pieces, but each one of them is so in depth. Like I asked a question around awareness. He went into a folder that went into a folder that went into another folder, and he opened up that folder, and there was just PowerPoints galore. And he went right to, like, I don't know, page 5 of it and showed me this process. And then he said, but let me show you one better. Now, I think you guys heard this if you went to Mega Camp about AI. I've worked with Dan Martell since 2023, and he had been talking about this. And the idea as we move into this AI-based world is not just allowing AI to be a co-pilot with you, right? Not just someone next to you here that you're using on a daily basis, though. Can AI become you, right? Can AI become your IP, right? Can AI step into a space that now is your content, so that anybody in your world doesn't need you because it's all right there, but they can only have access of it with it to you from you. So he pulls up this screen, and it was all those folders that he had showed of his flywheel in an AI bot approach. I think I blacked out
It was
because I don't
unreal.
remember much after that. I basically was like, here's the credit card, sign me up. If 100 people are using it right now, here's 101. This card doesn't have a limit on it. Just charge it, please. Just go.
It was good.
And it was fascinating to see, because everything that he has created through Brand Builders Group is now in the form of a specific AI bot that is his. Now, this isn't the first time we've heard of someone have like AI something, but this was the first time I'd seen an entire company behind an AI wall. And let me rephrase that, an entire company's IP behind an AI wall. And I thought, wow, this is next level. And we
Yeah.
talk about compression of time a lot inside of I Love Coaching. And how do you compress time? And people pay for compressed time. That right there, if his membership is, I don't know, $1,500 a month, I said someone could pay $1 million for that and probably make 10 million in 6 months because of the compression of time. So that was just high level, and it was very powerful to see because that's where we're all moving towards.
Yeah, love it. Heather's going to post in the chat here in just a second a link that will get you a free call if anybody's interested with BB. It's not with Rory, but it's with someone that's like good on their team.
Okay,
Oh,
you want to share your biggest aha?
yeah, I do. Sorry, hold on. Heather's texting me about the QR code. Hold on. You emailed me. She's like, I can hear you. Why are you texting and talking to me at the same time? At some point. Okay. Okay.
Agreed, Dan. Hold on, look what Dan just said. There will be a first real estate agent who breaks a 1 million GCI with an AI team. Agreed.
Yeah.
100% agreed.
Yeah, I totally agree.
And it's not too far away.
Probably within 3 years, 100%.
Easily. Easily. Yeah.
Dan, I hope you're the one coaching them.
Entirely possible.
I
He
know.
might be the one that does it too.
We're not working on it.
If
I love it.
if Dan coaches them, it'll be 2 years and not 3. Let's just.
Oh, look at that compression of time. What love we have.
I
now.
love it. So good. Okay, so here was my big takeaway. And Adam, if you have anything too at the end, I know we're about out of time. So the one question that I really wanted to ask Rory that I actually asked at the very end, and I'm so thankful that I did. I wasn't going to, and then I was like, no, I'm going to, is I really wanted to know what in his mind is the difference maker between all of these people and the 1%ers. Like there are, they have 900 plus coaching clients and brand builders. And then of that, they have Ed Milet, Ryan Leake, Jamie Kern Lima, Jenna Kutcher, Amy Porterfield, whoever else and whoever else, like they probably have 10 who are like those just 1%ers. And so I said, Rory, what is the difference that you see? You've seen thousands of people at this point. What is the difference between the ones that break through at like mainstream and are those people? And he said, that's such a great question. And he said, there's really 3 answers that I would give you. And I have been, you all like waking up in the middle of the night thinking about this. And Adam knows, Dylan knows, I've talked to him about it every day. He said, number 1, first and foremost, without any sort of hesitation, they have a calling on their life to do what they're doing. Like they have recognized that they have a calling from God. They have a calling on their life to do what they're doing, and they're being obedient to the calling. They either, at some point felt it or heard it or whatever, but they have a calling to do what they're doing. And so he said that he could name every single one of them. And he said, without a doubt, they have a calling on their life to do what they're doing right now. Then he said, after we talked about that for a minute, number 2 and number 3, to be honest, kind of shocked me. I thought that he was going to say, they are hard workers. They have grit. They don't give up. They do whatever it takes, or they got themselves in the right rooms, which he did say that as kind of a 4th, but I'll talk about that in a minute. But that wasn't what he said. He said, in today's time, number 2 is strategy and number 3 is execution. And he said,
So simple.
It's so simple, not easy, but simple. He said every one of those people had a calling. They recognized the calling. They were obedient to the calling. And then they went and either hired the best strategist for what they were trying to do, or they came up with the best strategy to get it done. And then they executed on the strategy. And he gave the example of Ryan Leake. Do you all know Ryan Leake? Shake your head or thumbs up or something. Okay, yes, almost everyone does now. And I don't know if you noticed this. Like I followed Ryan Leake for a long time. He now has just shot out of the gate. I mean, he is like all over everywhere that you look is Ryan Leake, Ryan Leake, Ryan Leake. And so Rory gave the example of, and you know what? His book is downstairs on my nightstand. I thought I had it up here. He gave the example of Ryan Leake when I asked him this question. He said, take Ryan Leake. He's been, what we would call semi-successful. I mean, pretty successful. He definitely has a calling on his life. He recognized the calling. He wrote 2 books. Neither of them hit a bestseller list. And neither one of the books, he tried both times, did not hit a bestseller list. Great books, didn't make a list. And he was doing public speaking, trying to get in the public speaking world. And he was charging $10,000 for a keynote. Okay. That is a lot, but that's nothing compared to what people are charging for keynotes nowadays. So Rory said, take Ryan then, and then take Ryan 2 years ago, who said, okay, I'm going to get serious. I need a strategy for this. He worked with Rory, and I think some other people too, John Maxwell, he's in the Maxwell world, but he said he got a strategy. He formed a very strategic plan. He has executed on the plan. And since he did that, his third book came out, How to Work with Complicated People, and it was a New York Times bestseller. And his keynotes went from, in 18 months, from $10,000 a keynote to $50,000 a keynote is what he's charging today, right now. And all of that happened. And as you see, like, I think we would all agree, he has broken through that mainstream ceiling. He is well through it now. But he said he is the perfect example of someone who was winging it and then got strategic, and look what happened. So for one, I needed to hear that, because I'm a winger. I'm like
here's the biggest thing right now.
Throw you the ball in the fourth quarter and like you'll make the winning shot. Like that's a lot of us, you guys. But the strategery and the execution are winning. Sorry, go ahead, honey.
Well, I was going to say that, we've heard for a long time we're in the information age. We're in the information age. We're in the information age. We're no longer in the information age. We've got so much information at our fingertips at any waking time. We're in the implementation age, right? And there's so many strategies out there that I wrote down as a takeaway is most of us aren't struggling with skill, right? Most of us are not struggling with skill. You're struggling with clarity. Right. That's what I really wrote down from my notes is most people are struggling with clarity because here's what happens when you have clarity is you have confidence. And when you have confidence, then you can step into a strategy because there's so many strategies out there and go execute on the strategy to have success. And that's his and then we asked him, what could we do for him? Right. We asked him what we could do for him. And of course, if you know my wife, she had brought him gifts, and that was really fun. But honey, do you remember what he said if we asked him what we could do for him?
Yeah, it was a great answer. It's really what I'm gonna start telling people too. He said, "Go do all that we talked about and be successful.
Go succeed." That's all I said.
Succeed. Like
Just
go win at a really high level with everything that I taught you." And why did he answer that? Of course, I'm sure in his heart he wants us to. He sent me a text and was like, you are gonna be. Just keep going. Like this is just the beginning. But also it's because he probably wants us to be a case study like everybody else, right? I mean, the more that we win using his models, the more that he wins. And the more that we go tell people to use his, that's, and all of us, by the way, should want that too. And it was just so great. Yes, he definitely has the right heart, Stephanie. Totally agree. Okay, so Heather just put a link in the chat. This is to download their free audiobook, but once you do that, or if you've already done that, you can do it again. But you will then get an email that says if you'd like a free call, that's going to come from that. So just FYI. Now, if you are on and you're like very serious about wanting to build a brand and like you would potentially hire them, email me or DM me, because I want to make sure that you get, like, you don't just go through the funnel and get matched up with somebody. I will ensure that you get someone great personally. Because I started with someone who was good, not great, and now I have someone that's great, and like everything has been faster. So okay, that was a lot.
That was
1 minute. Any questions? Sorry, we didn't leave questions. Shoot. Did you guys get some good stuff? Good.
It was great. Absolutely great.
Awesome.
Type yes in the chat if this was good. Let's see if we got any yes.
They're nodding.
Nodding. We can't see all the yet.
I've got like
so good.
I've got 2 pages full of like I'm
beautiful.
Love it. Awesome. All right, you all. Thank y'all for being on. If we can do anything to help, yes, go. That's right. Let us know. Love y'all. Have a blessed.
See you guys.
See ya.